Why the fuck are people watching this?
This is gonna be worse than any circle you have ever been in. From revenge-driven maniacs, genocidal aliens, roid-raging gods, and people you just straight up can't stand, today I gathered the most nightmarish blunt rotation from Dragon Ball Z all the way through the end of the Super anime, going through each saga and assembling the most horrendous, out-of-pocket, and sometimes unsurvivable circles. A quick rule of thumb before we start: I will only try to pick people who are involved with the arc, as well as only using people one time each. With the intro out of the way, grab a doobie, grab some munchies, and let's go over the nightmare blunt rotations in Dragon Ball Z. Starting off with the Saiyan saga, we're gonna go with Raditz. Raditz is a walking case. Not only he kidnaps kids, but he also assaults the parents in the process. He has never had anything pleasant to say as well, mostly just roasting how weak other people are. 100% would consider jumping if I were to invite him. Especially being a Saiyan, these guys notoriously have no chill. Speaking of Saiyans, next up is Nappa. Nappa also has no chill. From beating up kids, aliens, and any motherfucker who wants the hands, no questions asked, Nappa knows nothing but what Saiyans do best: conquer and destroy. No redeeming qualities, definitely a perfect fit for being one of the worst candidates to smoke with. When I was a kid, I thought he looked like a cop, so the vibes are just off for me. Next up, we're picking a Cybermen. The only thing that are worse crash outs than these walking abominations is debatably Frieza after he starts losing. Other than that, they don't have a personality. They don't really talk. They are just walking plants essentially. Best case scenario, they would be a drag and a waste of space to be around. Worst case scenario, he ends the session early by blowing himself up along with all the weed into smithereens. Lastly, for the Saiyan saga, we got Piccolo. This is Piccolo right after the World Conqueror arc of his. Bro is waiting for the perfect moment to take over and has little concern for anything but his well-being, at least until he chills with Gohan for a bit. But before this, Piccolo was a literal demon incarnate. Definitely would bring the vibes down to hell with us. Plus, I feel like if Piccolo started to green out, no pun intended, he would just try and fight his way out of the bad trip, physically and mentally. Moving on, we got the Frieza/Namek saga. Starting off, we got Dodoria. If you think the people beating up kids was bad before, Dodoria takes it literally to the next level with actual murder of children. No redeeming qualities from this guy. He seems arrogant, rude, and would run through all of our munchies before the sesh even starts. On track of the Frieza Force, we got Zarbon. Zarbon may seem like a chill guy, but it's when Zarbon transforms that would make him a good or bad fit. Bro is a certified crash out. He doesn't kill children like Dodoria, but he does a lot of bad simply under the guise of doing his job. He shows no remorse for what he and his men are doing, and also would scare the hoes if he showed up in his transformed state. Moving on to the next two, we got Jace and Birder. I don't know what it is about these guys, but I really don't like him. Birder seems way too arrogant for his own good. He would take like 5 hits as quickly as possible, and would pass out from air loss. A total party pooper. And Jace just seems like a crybaby. He starts losing and has to go cry to Daddy Ginyu. He just seems scummy in general, and would definitely be the guy who breaks the puff puff pass rule. Next saga is the Android/Cell saga, and we're going to be having a mechanical nightmare of a sesh here. Starting off, we got Mech Frieza. I didn't want to pick him earlier because there were so many others to pick from, but I feel like here he's a perfect fit. Not only is the guy a literal space Nazi, and all the shit he did before still stands, but here he is seeing nothing but red, looking to find Goku for revenge. Honestly, being around this type of energy is an impossible task if you're looking to chill out. He can't live in the moment, as well as being one bad comment away from trying to murder his fellow smokers. After Frieza, we got Android 17. I know I chose him as a positive for a blunt circle in the last video, but back around this time, 17 was a certified wild boy. He was on site for every Z fighter pretty much, and did some pretty unforgivable shit in his wake. He also has little to no personality here, simply being a projection of Jiro, but even then, he can't even do that right, and he goes against the wishes of his creator, literally killing him in the process. Cold as ice. 2 final spots for this arc, Android 19 and 20. These guys want nothing more than to kill Goku. Not only would it get annoying because just like Frieza, these guys wouldn't be able to live in the moment and would just be thinking about ways to get Goku, and like most people on this list, They murder with no remorse, as well as causing property damage. And I'm sorry, but I don't want my house getting burned down because these guys can't keep their nuts and bolts under control. Also, these guys are more robotic than anyone before, so I feel like it would be impossible to even converse with these guys, let alone try and get through one bowl. Moving on to the Buu Saga, and in my opinion, is where we have the worst circle in existence. No one here is chill. Little to no thoughts in these guys' heads other than destruction, revenge, darkness. These guys incarnate every one of those. And we'll start with Kid Buu. Bro is the embodiment of evil. The incense would go out the second he walked in the room. Tapestries falling from the walls, crystals bursting into pieces. This guy is a walking bad vibe. Plus him being a mindless herald of destruction is a recipe for disaster. One puff and bro would go gorilla mode on all the other smokers. Now we got Spopovich, who is a roid-raging, revenge-wanting piece of shit that I'm sure no one wants to be around. From beating up women to taking orders from a ball sack, Spopovich is one of the least likable characters in the show's history. That's why he got dicked on by Mr. Satan. He ain't shit. You ain't shit, Spopovich. I would pack him a resin bowl just to see him suffer as much as possible. We got Yakon next up. Darkness incarnate. There's not a single shred of positive emotion to this guy. Him being from a place where light doesn't even exist. Like, I'm sorry, but if you can't see the light in anything at all, you are a liability to the circle. He would bring zero amounts of good vibes, and just like Zarbon, the hoes would go running for the hills if they caught a glimpse of this guy. Lastly, for this circle, we got the man, the myth, the legend, Vegeta. But not just any Vegeta, the most mentally unstable version of them all, Majin Vegeta. Bro is not thinking here. Killing innocent life in order just to prod Goku to fight him, he would burn his finger trying to light the bowl and proceed to destroy the entire planet we are on because of it. Not only that, but he has the same problem as half these motherfuckers do so far, and that's having Goku living rent-free in his head. None of them can just relax for a day, so he's a must-have for a possibility for debatably the most nightmarish blunt rotation in Dragon Ball history. Quick intermission. Since Battle of Gods and Res F only introduce a handful of new characters, and most of them are pleasant, and we already used Frieza, we will just be plopping Beerus and placing him at a different point later in the video, so that's why we're skipping Battle of Gods and Res F. So with that said, let's move on to Universe 6 and 7 Tournament Saga. And here, I made this one of the worst, disgusting, most insufferable circles of all time. We got Elder Kai, King of Universe 7, Master Roshi, and Zuno, the guy who knows all the shit and stuff. I know these guys weren't involved much in this arc, but I thought I would break the rule just this time to make one of the worst circles ever. This is the horniest circle I could have concocted, having no shortage of what the fuck in this group. Everyone here is probably on multiple watch lists, as well as probably attended a few white parties back in the day. Let's run through it as quickly as possible, because I don't want to talk about these offenders for too long. We will go from most tame to worst. Starting off, we got the King of Universe 7. Bro just has his shit out at all times. Anyone can see his whole package, and this even led to Goku accidentally shaking his schlong, thinking it was his hand. And this freaky motherfucker didn't stop him. Bro was blushing. Alright, this isn't the worst you could do, but it's still pretty fucked. Next up, we got Zuno. Zuno is like the Weinstein of Dragon Ball, exchanging sexual favors for the expansive knowledge of the universe. Someone needs to look into his operations because I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg. Moving on, we got Elder Kai. Not only is he a Zuno type as well, exchanging favors in return for him providing his mystical powers to you, but bro is always horny. He's either thinking of women or reading dirty mags like someone else we know. So just cause he is more open about it, I consider him to be worse than Zuno. And finally, no surprise to anyone, we got Master Diddy himself, Master Roshi, the worst offender in all of Dragon Ball. Serious note, I'm not going to go over all of it in any serious fashion because realistically speaking, some of this shit is actually abhorrent and definitely crosses the boundaries in terms of social acceptability and even the law. You couldn't count the amount of places this guy is most likely banned from. Stores, school zones, airplanes. That's why he lives on that island with critters and shit. It's for impulse control. That menace can't be out there in the real world like he used to. Not only has he done literally everything that the guys above have done, well except for just strutting his meat around, but who knows if he's done that or not, but he's also done much worse and failed to make any change to his character until years later where he finally chilled out. But this was still pre-Nut Clarity Roshi, still at one of his worst points. I pray you are an adult male when you walk into this circle, but even then, who knows what the fuck could happen with these freaks. Alright, we got the Goku Black Saga. First up, we got the dynamic duo of Dickory, and that's Zamasu and Goku Black. These guys are actual unhinged, disconnected control freaks, who literally just want to kill every single mortal that lives. These guys wouldn't even be able to tolerate 2/5 of the circle if I was showing up. They do drink tea together, so they might just try and kill everyone and take the weed for themselves to go sesh together. Probably making out and shit, fucking freaks. Next up, I'm taking Beerus's placement from earlier and plopping him here. I feel like when Beerus is around Whis, he can be kept in check, and usually can just focus on what Whis is interested in. We have rarely seen Beerus by himself out in the wild, but we already know he can get pretty fucking pissed at the slightest shit. He singes one of his whiskers while lighting the bowl, well, now the planet's gone. And finally, we got Zeno. There's no telling what this motherfucker could do stoned. He already has little concept of what is going on around him already, viewing most of reality as his plaything, so getting him stoned may be a detriment to the circle, erasing motherfuckers on an accident while passing the blunt, and at worst, could destroy reality because he's greening out. And lastly, we got the Tournament of Power Nightmare Blunt Rotation. We got so many people to choose from your standard crash outs to people who just make you want to rip your hair out. We will be counting every single Tournament of Power player as a potential seshi for this circle, so starting off, we got Kale, the girl version of Broly essentially. Good luck trying to chill out with this motherfucker around, flipping tables and shit, smashing weed jars, and again, is another person who is having Goku live rent-free in their head. At her worst points, not being able to think about literally anything but the orange motherfucker. And even in her base form or controlled form, I find her to be insufferable. Always whining about some shit, or just obsessing over Khalifa and Goku. Can't even handle her regular living, so definitely could not handle the chronic I would bring. Moving on, we got Ribrianne. Let me tell you, I have watched every single episode of most of the major Dragon Ball series, including all of Super, many times over, and this remains to this day the only series of episodes I skipped while it was airing for the first time, and still skip to this day. I hate Ribrianne. She got way too much screen time. Bitch got more screen time than Hit in that arc. And her powers are just the power of love and bullshit. Let me get this straight. I'm a stoner, not a hippie. Take that lovey-dovey shit somewhere else. We want to get high. Her voice is also annoying. What she says is annoying. Her design is annoying. Even being an apparition of love and harmony, she still manages to be the most unlikable character in Dragon Ball history. Resin Bowl for her. Next up, we got Anna Laza. I know. Not one of the most iconic or memorable characters around, but remember, the goal here is creating the worst circles of all time. And this is a motherfucker who's like a Kid Buu type. A mindless, big-ass giant who isn't even sure he's sentient. Probably exists like a spider, moving off pure living instinct. Bro would not be able to hang for a number of reasons. His size definitely factoring into it. And the final person for the Tournament of Power is Frost. I hate this motherfucker. He's just as bad as Frieza, if not worse. He's pretty much the Homelander of the Dragon Ball universe. He causes the wars just to act like a hero by ending them. He's a manipulator and is overall slimy. Not to mention he cheats in sports, which no one likes. Bro would try to poison the blunt going around just to have some more weed to himself. And there you have it. The worst rotations from every Dragon Ball Z saga up to the end of the Super anime. We get a good mix of people you can't stand, your standard criminals, and some mindless motherfuckers. Good luck trying to enjoy your high in any of these circles. But yeah, thanks for watching and hearing me talk about such a silly topic. Thanks for all the support lately, especially thank you for 500 subs. It means a lot, and yeah, that's all I had to talk about. Take care.